He grabs her by the neck. A single, shocking sentence that describes a moment poised to either elevate the Apothecary Diaries to legendary status or utterly destroy its reputation. This isn't a villain's shadowy attack in a dark alley. It's an act committed in a moment of raw intensity by the series' beloved, seemingly perfect male lead, Jinshi, against our brilliant heroine, Maomao. For 2 seasons, millions of fans have been captivated by their clever dynamic, the subtle political intrigue, and one of the most tantalizing slow-burn romances in recent memory. But with Season 3 confirmed and on the horizon, anime-only viewers are about to walk into the story's most emotionally charged and controversial territory. Fans of the light novels know what's coming, and they are holding their breath, because the adaptation of this one scene, this single, terrifying moment of emotional overload, could alienate the entire audience and derail the soul of the show. But what if I told you this jarring outburst isn't what it seems? That it's not a simple act of violence, but a raw, unfiltered, and desperate plea from a man who has reached his absolute breaking point. Today, we are diving headfirst into the infamous choking scene from the Apothecary Diaries light novel Volume 5. We will meticulously unpack the crushing weight of unspoken love and suffocating political pressure that leads to this explosive confrontation. We'll peel back the flawless mask of the perfect prince to reveal the deeply flawed, obsessed, and dangerously human hiding beneath. And most critically, we'll analyze why the anime studio must walk a razor-thin tightrope to get this right, because one misstep in direction, pacing, or voice acting could ruin everything. This is the story of a scene so powerful, it could change how you see these characters and their entire world forever. To truly understand the gravity of this moment, we have to look beyond the act itself and examine the pressure cooker environment that has been methodically constructed around Jinshi and Maomao. On the surface, Jinshi is the very definition of perfection. He is a breathtakingly beautiful, high-ranking official who navigates the treacherous, poisoned waters of the imperial court with an almost untouchable elegance. He has immense power, unparalleled status, and the fawning admiration of nearly everyone he meets. But this glittering exterior conceals a profound, soul-crushing loneliness. This isn't just metaphorical. Jinshi is quite literally a prisoner. He is trapped in a gilded cage, forced to maintain the public fiction of being a eunuch, a political tool neutered of his own ambitions and desires. Every word he speaks is weighed for political consequence. Every smile is a calculated maneuver, and every interaction is a performance. He is surrounded by sycophants and schemers, but utterly alone in his own truth. He is isolated by the very beauty and rank that others covet. And the one thing he truly wants, the one person whose approval he desperately craves, is the one person who seems completely, maddeningly indifferent to him, Maomao. Our brilliant, pragmatic apothecary is his perfect foil. Forged in the harsh realities of the Viridian House, her emotional repression isn't a personality quirk, it's an essential survival tactic forged in the fire of the Pleasure District. In the Viridian House, she witnessed love and affection as commodities to be bought and sold, as weapons to be wielded for influence, or as weaknesses to be exploited. Genuine, selfless emotion was a fairy tale, a dangerous illusion. It's no wonder, then, that she views Jinshi's persistent and sincere advances not through the rosy lens of romance, but as a complicated and often inconvenient scientific problem to be analyzed, categorized, and solved. This clashing dynamic creates a slow-burning tension that is both the series' greatest strength and the source of its central conflict. He pushes for emotional intimacy, she pulls back with scientific observation. He bears a piece of his soul, she meets it with a clinical diagnosis. The breaking point arrives when the external pressures on Jinshi become unbearable. He is being relentlessly pushed to marry for political reasons, to make a safe and strategic choice that will secure alliances and fulfill his suffocating duty. In a moment of sheer desperation and vulnerability, he floats this idea to Maomao, perhaps secretly hoping she'll finally protest, that she'll show even a flicker of jealousy or possessiveness. Instead, Maomao does what she has always done. She responds with what she sees as cold, hard, inescapable logic. She calmly encourages it, laying out the practical benefits for him and the court. From her perspective, it's the most rational solution. But to Jinshi, it is the ultimate, soul-crushing betrayal. Hearing the only woman he has ever truly wanted parrot the same empty lines about duty and safe choices that have imprisoned him his entire life is the final trigger. His meticulously controlled world shatters. In that moment, he isn't trying to harm her. He's trying, in the most misguided and primitive way possible, to provoke her. He needs to shatter her infuriating composure and force her to give him a real, honest, emotional response. Any response, even if it's hatred. This frighteningly intense moment is absolutely essential because it is the first time we, and more importantly Maomao, see the real Jinshi. The carefully constructed illusion of the composed, elegant, and gentlemanly prince doesn't just crack, it explodes into a million pieces. What's left standing in the wreckage is someone far more complex, far more volatile, and far more dangerous. A man who is angry, impulsive, and consumed by a dangerous obsession. The story courageously rips back the layers of charm and reveals the raw, unrefined core of his being. For so long, Jinshi has been playing a role, a part written for him by his station in life. He uses his beauty and status as a shield, a tool to manipulate and keep others at a distance, just as Maomao uses her apathy and intellect. But the truth is, he's not the flawless Prince Charming everyone believes him to be, and that is precisely the point of his entire character arc. The author brilliantly uses the analogy of a cat. He's alluring, elegant, and seemingly aloof, but hiding sharp, dangerous claws just beneath the surface. He is a predator, but not in a malicious, villainous way. He is a predator in the sense that he possesses powerful, primal instincts that have been systematically suppressed for his entire life. He's been trained, conditioned, and forced to bottle up every genuine desire he's ever felt. So when that lifetime of suppression finally fails, when his true feelings finally erupt, they don't emerge as a sweet, poetic confession of love. They emerge as something volatile, unrefined, and terrifying. This isn't just about his frustrated love for Maomao. It's about his entire identity. It's about the immense psychological cost of repression and what happens when a person who has always played by the rules finally snaps and reveals the wildness they've hidden inside. It's a fascinating and brave deconstruction of the perfect male lead trope, isn't it? The story dares to make him flawed, to make him act out in a way that is objectively wrong, but within the narrative, terrifyingly understandable. If you're enjoying this deep dive into character psychology, do me a favor and smash that like button to let me know. The scene powerfully implies that Jinshi possesses a darker, more intense side to his personality that most people, especially the sheltered women of the court, are completely unprepared to handle. But Maomao, in her own grounded, almost clinical way, might be the only person uniquely equipped to confront it without being destroyed by it. Of course, an act like this is only one half of a complex emotional equation. What truly makes or breaks this scene, what elevates it from a shocking act of violence to a pivotal moment of profound character development, is Maomao's reaction. And her response is just as crucial and subversive as Jinshi's initial action. A typical heroine in this situation might recoil in fear, burst into tears, or lash out in righteous anger. Maomao does none of these things. And this is where the scene truly ascends to greatness. In a stunning testament to her incredible inner strength and unique, logic-driven worldview, she confronts him. But it's not a confrontation of force, but of intellect. In that terrifying second, her mind doesn't shut down in panic. It goes into overdrive. You can almost see the gears turning as she performs a rapid-fire diagnosis of the situation. She processes the raw data, the exact pressure of his fingers on her throat, the tremor in his hands, the desperate, unhinged look in his eyes, the crushing context of their prior conversation. She is not just being brave. She is analyzing the root cause of the symptom before her, treating his emotional meltdown like the most complex poison she has ever encountered. She doesn't scream or fight back physically. Instead, she deploys her sharpest and most effective weapon, her unflinching honesty and her unique brand of observational emotional intelligence. She sees right through the act itself to the writhing desperation that fueled it. She doesn't submit to his rage, but critically, she also doesn't run from his pain. She holds her ground, and in doing so, she strips away every last shred of illusion and decorum that has existed between them. She forces Jinshi to truly look at what he's doing, to confront the ugliness of his own unraveling. This is the moment where Maomao truly sees Jinshi for the very first time. Not the handsome, untouchable official, not the high-ranking noble playing intricate games of power. She sees the broken, desperate, and terrifyingly human being beneath the mask. And in that same harrowing instant, Jinshi realizes something equally profound. Maomao might be the only person in the entire world who could ever see that monstrous part of him and not run away in terror. She is the only one who could look upon his unraveled self and meet his gaze without flinching. This painful, silent, shared understanding is the true heart of the scene. It's not about condoning his actions, but about using them as a brutal but necessary catalyst for change. The story doesn't shy away from the wrongness of what he did, but it uses that wrongness to push both characters toward an evolution they desperately need. Maomao is forced, finally, to comprehend the sheer depth and intensity of Jinshi's feelings for her. And Jinshi is forced to face the hard truth that love cannot be demanded or taken by force. It must be earned through trust and understanding. Her power in this moment is not physical, but psychological. She diffuses a volatile situation not by cowering, but by being so utterly and unshakably herself that it forces him to become himself as well. So, what does this all mean for the upcoming anime adaptation? It means the studio, Toho Animation, and OLM is facing an incredible high-wire artistic challenge. They have to walk a perilously fine line, and a single misstep could be catastrophic. On one hand, they absolutely cannot remove or water down this scene. It is far too pivotal to the emotional architecture of the entire series. It's the moment the central relationship truly begins. Excising it would gut the narrative of one of its most powerful and transformative beats. On the other hand, if they handle it without the proper care, sensitivity, and context, they risk a massive backlash from both new and old fans. It could easily be misread as the romanticization of abuse, or conversely, as a moment of sudden, unjustified character-breaking violence that makes Jinshi irredeemable. The success of this scene will hinge entirely on nuance. The anime must meticulously lay the emotional groundwork far in advance. Viewers need to see Jinshi's slow, subtle unraveling throughout the season. They need to feel his mounting frustration in his dealings with court officials, witness Maomao's increasingly frustrating emotional blind spots, and sense the unbearable, unspoken tension growing between them until it becomes a palpable force. Direction, music, and pacing will be everything. The sound design alone could make or break it. Imagine the tense dialogue leading up to the act, then the sudden, shocking silence the moment his hand makes contact, broken only by the sound of his own ragged breathing. The score must be used with surgical precision, perhaps cutting out entirely to amplify the raw horror of the moment before swelling back in to underscore the emotional fallout. The animators can convey so much through other subtle details. A close-up on the slight tremble in Jinshi's hands before he acts, the shift in lighting to cast longer, more menacing shadows, the unreadable yet intensely calculating expression in Maomao's eyes that betrays the storm of analysis happening within. The voice acting will be paramount. Awo Yuki as Maomao and Takeo Otsuka as Jinshi will need to deliver career-defining performances to capture the complex, roiling storm of emotions without tipping into cheap melodrama. The stakes couldn't be higher for the animators. If you want to see more breakdowns of how light novels and manga are brought to the screen, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our future videos. It's not just about the scene itself, but the crucial aftermath. We need to see the emotional reckoning. Jinshi must look shaken, horrified by his own loss of control. Maomao needs to remain outwardly composed, but we, the audience, must be shown through her private actions that she is deeply affected. The show must give them the space to process what happened, to highlight how this single, ugly moment becomes the crack in the dam that changes the entire flow of their relationship forever. It's completely understandable why fans of the series are nervous about this approaching storm. In a show that is celebrated for its intelligence, subtlety, and wit, this scene is a jarring, uncomfortable, and frankly violent beat. But that's precisely why it's so brilliant and so important. If the anime team adopts it thoughtfully, with all the emotional complexity and narrative context it deserves, it could become one of the most powerful and talked about scenes in modern anime history. It's a moment that exposes both the profound strength and the terrifying fragility of the bond between Jinshi and Maomao, forcing them both to evolve in ways they never could have otherwise. The Apothecary Diaries has never been a simple romance, and this scene proves it. It's a deep character study, a biting commentary on social and emotional repression, and a slow-burning story of two deeply damaged people finding a precarious path toward hope and healing. This scene, as uncomfortable as it is, embodies all of those themes in one explosive package. If the anime nails this, it won't just shock viewers. It will fundamentally redefine their understanding of the story, its characters, and the very nature of their relationship. It will cement the series' place as a masterpiece of its genre. And that is a creative risk well worth taking.